Good morning, it's Friday and welcome to another episode of Choir Leader in a Kayak. And I'm not in a kayak, I'm back on my trampoline and I hope you've had a really nice week. Don't worry, I'm not going to spend the whole time bouncing up and down. But this week's episode is all about sensory stimulation. And as many of you know, I've had to take my work across to Zoom platform and it's been a really steep learning curve. And I've been doing lots of reading about why Zoom and Skype and all these things that are happening on a virtual platform are so exhausting. And it's because we're trying to process so much information, aren't we? And the visual cues that we would normally look for, or auditory cues when we listen to people's breathing, they're all gone. And so I've given myself a bit of a pat on the back and also a bit of a slack around why I'm finding sitting in my house with 40 people on a screen so very tiring, when normally I can bounce around a room for a couple of hours with 100 people and feel completely energised. I'm still really, really glad that I'm doing my work, because it is really important to still connect with my choir members and to sing together in a virtual space. When I sit here on my trampoline, I can move around and I get feedback straight away. I think that's why I love being on kayaks, and I love swimming, and I love anything that gives my body that sense of feedback that it's looking for. So if you wondered why I'm such a bouncy person who constantly likes to do things that might seem a bit strange to others, that's why. I'm just somebody who clearly needs a lot of cues, sensory cues that help me make sense of things. So it's been a really interesting week. Obviously we are still in lockdown and there's all sorts of great music making opportunities going on every single day, and I'm really pleased to see that. I've been spending quite a bit of time in the garden, and I like that sense of completion when I've had done some weeding and I can see that things look better. And sometimes when things are in a slow process or change is taking a long time, that sense of completion is quite difficult to work out what's going on. So little jobs that have that end in sight are really important at the moment. There's been lots of sadness, lots of things in the news that have been quite shocking, hearing about house parties in other parts of the country that the police are having to go and raid and split up, and I find that very, very difficult to understand. And we all have our own moral compass, don't we, around what is and what isn't okay in these trying times. I've been really pleased to read some fantastic news about the planet, the fact that the Himalayas have been viewed in India for the first time in 30 years because the pollution is nothing like it was. I've also been delighted this morning to have heard about the best eggs ever. It is Easter weekend and we'll all be scoffing Easter eggs, I suspect, but I was really thrilled this morning to read about 70,000 endangered sea turtles have returned to an isolated beach to lay their eggs. Because the beach is there for them, they're able to do that. So there are so many wonderful things in this beautiful world to cling on to. So in the words of It's a Wonderful World, do notice the trees and the blue sky, and do think to yourself, what a wonderful world. And if that's all a bit too cheesy for you and you'd rather have something to smile about or to giggle around, always remember that final scene in Monty Python's Life of Brian, where we always have to remind ourselves to always look on the bright side of life. Happy Easter, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.